The dawn breaks with a kind of eerie calm that only the Himalayas can conjure. It's early spring, mid-April, when the air still carries the biting chill of winter's retreat. The towering peaks of the Khumbu region, shrouded in mist, loom like ancient sentinels, indifferent to the human struggles that unfold beneath them. A gentle wind whispers across the icy slopes of Nuptse, its voice a haunting melody that echoes against the snow-draped rocks. The crunch of crampons on frozen ground punctuates the silence, each step a testament to the indomitable spirit and daring dreams that draw climbers to these perilous heights. This is where Ueli Steck, the Swiss machine, was last seen alive, a legend of mountaineering who sought to push his limits in the shadow of Everest. But why, in a season of training and preparation, did Ueli remain on these slopes alone? What series of events led to his tragic end, and what secrets do these icy giants hold as the clouds part momentarily, revealing the sun-kissed peaks? The questions thicken like the gathering mist. Was it an accident, a miscalculation, or something more sinister that left him here? In our quest to uncover the truth behind Ueli Steck's final ascent, we delve deep into the rich tapestry of evidence left in the wake of his passing. Expedition logs hint at a meticulous planner, archival footage captures a man in his element, defying gravity with grace and precision. Eyewitness accounts paint a picture of camaraderie and solitude, ambition and caution, a complex portrait of a man driven by an almost mythical pursuit of perfection. Yet, within these fragments lie three details that change everything. Details that blur the line between fact and speculation, between what is known and what remains hidden in the shadows of these towering giants. As we sift through these clues, the narrative becomes a compelling puzzle that refuses to rest quietly in the annals of mountaineering history. It is a story that beckons to those who have ever felt the pull of the mystery, the kind that gnaws at the edges of your consciousness and demands resolution. If you've ever chased a mystery that wouldn't let you go, tap subscribe and join us as we piece together the enigma of Ueli Steck's final days. Together, we'll traverse the terrain of possibility, navigate the crevices of truth and myth, and ascend to the heights of understanding. In this documentary, we promise not just to recount events, but to immerse you in the atmosphere of intrigue that surrounds the slopes of Nuptse. With each revelation, we peel back the layers of this gripping tale, revealing the human spirit's triumphs and tragedies in the face of nature's ultimate challenge. Join us as we explore the legacy of a man who dared to conquer the impossible and the mountain that holds his final secret. As the morning sun peeked over the jagged peaks of the Himalayas on April 30, 2017, the world was still unaware of the tragedy that had unfolded on the icy ridges of Nuptse. Ueli Steck, known as the Swiss machine for his extraordinary speed and precision in climbing, had set out on a training mission for what was to be his greatest challenge yet, a solo ascent of Everest via the West Ridge, a route steeped in as much history as danger. Ueli's plan was meticulous. He was to climb Nuptse as part of his acclimatization process, a crucial step before tackling the more formidable Everest. Nuptse, though overshadowed by its sister peaks, was no trifling matter. Its slopes were treacherous, littered with loose rock and hidden crevices, demanding both skill and respect from those who dared to traverse them. But Steck was not just any climber. His previous feats had earned him a reputation as a modern-day legend. His gear was state-of-the-art, a careful selection of lightweight equipment designed to enhance speed without compromising safety. Yet, the mountain is a living entity, unpredictable and often unforgiving, a fact Steck knew well. Some argue it was Steck's relentless pursuit of speed that played a role in the events that followed. His training ethos, honed over years, was to push limits, to move swiftly through terrain that others approached with caution. It's plausible that in his quest for efficiency, some risks were underestimated. Witnesses reported seeing Steck climbing alone that fateful morning, a silhouette against the austere backdrop of the snow-draped ridge. As the hours passed, those at base camp grew concerned. The radio silence was unnerving, an echo of uncertainty that began to weigh heavily on the hearts of those waiting below. The official reports state that Steck fell nearly 1,000 meters from the slopes of Nuptse. The cause of the fall remained shrouded in mystery. Was it a simple misstep, a momentary lapse in concentration, or did the mountain itself shift, sending ice and rock cascading in a deadly avalanche? The intricacies of high-altitude climbing often blur the line between human error and nature's wrath. Emotionally, the impact was seismic. Steck was not only a revered figure in the climbing community, but also a beloved friend and mentor to many. The disbelief turned to grief, and the slopes of Nuptse became a solemn ground, overshadowed by the loss of one of its most skilled navigators. Some speculate that Steck's solitary approach, while emblematic of his career, may have contributed to the tragedy. In a place where teamwork often acts as a lifeline, the absence of another set of eyes and ears could have been critical. Yet, for Steck, solo climbing was not just a method, but a philosophy, a way to connect with the mountain on an intensely personal level. The questions linger, as do the debates. What drove Ueli Steck to embrace such perilous endeavors? Was it the allure of conquest or the simple purity of climbing itself? These questions remain as open as the vast Himalayan skies. As we delve further into this enigmatic tale, we invite you to share your thoughts on what might have transpired that day. Could there have been factors we have yet to uncover? Leave your insights in the comments, and if you haven't already, subscribe to join us as we explore the many facets of Ueli Steck's final journey. The story is far from over. As Ueli Steck ascended the formidable slopes of Nuptse on April 30, 2017, the world watched with bated breath. This was the Swiss machine at his best, an athlete who had redefined what was possible in the realm of speed mountaineering. Yet as he moved through the early morning haze, a different narrative began to unfold, one steeped in mystery and fraught with tension. His friends and fellow climbers remember the day vividly, a tapestry of anticipation interwoven with an unshakable sense of foreboding. Steck's decision to train on Nuptse rather than Everest might have seemed unconventional to some, but it was a calculated choice. Nuptse offered the perfect proving ground, a place to hone his skills before attempting the daunting Everest Lhotse traverse. But the mountain, with its jagged ridges and unpredictable weather, demanded respect. On that fateful day, the conditions were uncharacteristically harsh, a stark reminder of the mountain's merciless nature. As Steck moved methodically upward, he was equipped with cutting-edge gear, lightweight crampons, a streamlined ice axe, and a meticulously packed rucksack. These tools had served him well in the past, yet the terrain was unforgiving. The ice, brittle and treacherous, crackled ominously beneath his feet. Some argue that the very elements that had propelled him to famous speed, his enduring focus, might have also contributed to the tragedy. It's plausible that in his relentless pursuit of efficiency, the usual margin for error had been perilously slim. There was another layer to the story, one not easily captured by the lens of a camera or the pages of a journal. Those closest to Steck speak of a man driven by an insatiable hunger, a need to push boundaries not just for glory, but for something deeper, something unspoken. His eyes, often described as intense and searching, betrayed a hint of vulnerability, a whisper of the immense pressure he shouldered. The psychological dynamics at play were complex, a symphony of ambition and fear. As news of his disappearance spread, questions arose. Why had Steck been left alone on those slopes? Was it a calculated risk, or simply the cruel hand of fate? Some speculate that his fierce independence, the very trait that had propelled him to the pinnacle of his sport, may have also isolated him in those final moments. In the high-stakes world of alpine climbing, trust is a fragile currency, one that can be both a lifeline and a curse. The void left by Steck's absence was palpable, a haunting reminder of the fine line between triumph and tragedy. His story continues to captivate, a narrative rich with lessons and lingering mysteries. And as we delve deeper, we invite you to join the conversation. What do you think drove Steck to push the limits of human endurance? Share your thoughts in the comments below and consider subscribing for more insights into the enigmatic world of high-altitude climbing. With each revelation, the shadows surrounding the day on Nuptse grow both clearer and more obscure, a testament to the enigmatic legacy of Ueli Steck. But the mountain, silent and stoic, holds its secrets close, leaving us to ponder the elusive truth. As dawn broke on April 30, 2017, the sprawling mass of Nuptse was bathed in an ethereal glow. The mountain stood silent, vast, and immutable, a stark contrast to the turmoil that had unfolded on its slopes just hours before. Ueli Steck, known as the Swiss machine for his incredible speed and endurance, had been on a solo acclimatization climb in preparation for an ambitious traverse linking Mount Everest and Lhotse. But now, he lay still, his life abruptly ended against the relentless rock and ice. The day before, Steck had been seen ascending with his characteristic blend of grace and determination. Fellow climbers noted his usual meticulous attention to gear, an array of lightweight, high-performance equipment carefully chosen to aid his speed and efficiency. He wore his iconic red-down suit, a vivid streak against the white wilderness. Yet, despite his preparation, the mountain's unpredictability would prove overwhelming. Reports suggest that Steck planned to make the most of the favorable weather window, hoping to push his limits and set new standards for what was possible at these altitudes. Some argue that the very traits that made him remarkable, his relentless drive, his pursuit of speed, were also his greatest vulnerabilities. The thin air at over 7,800 meters can distort judgment, where the line between calculated risk and perilous decision blurs. As the hours passed, helicopters buzzed over Nuptse, a stark reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded. In the mountaineering world, where each summit attempt is a dance with mortality, Steck's death sent ripples of disbelief and sorrow. His body, discovered by a team of rescue climbers, lay on a steep slope, suggesting he might have lost his footing or been caught by a sudden gust of wind. The exact circumstances remain shrouded in mystery, and perhaps they always will. Psychological insights into Steck's mind offer glimpses into the pressures he might have faced. Known for his fierce independence and drive, he was also deeply fully attuned to the mountain's rhythms. Friends and fellow climbers have spoken of his almost spiritual connection with the peaks, a bond forged through years of traversing their treacherous paths. This connection, while profound, may have also led him to push boundaries that others might have respected as insurmountable. The mountaineering community, a tight-knit group of adventurers bound by shared experiences and aspirations, was left grappling with Steck's absence. His passing was not just a personal loss, but a collective one, reminding them of the thin margin for error in this high-altitude world. Conversations turned to the inherent risks of solo climbing, the allure of record-breaking feats, and the fine balance between ambition and safety. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over Nuptse, one couldn't help but wonder about the lessons left behind. Was Steck's pursuit of the extraordinary a testament to human potential, or a cautionary tale of ambition unchecked? This tragedy invites reflection and dialogue. If Ueli Steck's story moves you or leaves you with questions, share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more insights into the lives of those who dared to dream beyond the ordinary. There are still stories untold, mysteries to unravel, and lessons to learn from these towering giants of rock and ice. The wind howled mercilessly over the icy expanse of Nuptse. Ueli Steck, the Swiss machine, was alone on the precipice of his ambition. It was April 30, 2017, and Steck had set out to train for his audacious Everest traverse. But now, the mountain loomed as both adversary and witness to the unfolding drama. Steck was equipped with the latest gear, lightweight crampons, a streamlined harness, and his trusted ice axes, tools that had once been extensions of his own will. Yet, in the thin air of the Himalayas, even the most meticulous preparations can falter. The terrain was unforgiving. Ice crumbled underfoot, and the gnarled ridges of Nuptse formed a labyrinthine path that tested even the most seasoned climbers. Witnesses later noted that Steck seemed unusually focused, perhaps too driven. Some argue that he was pushing beyond the limits of safety, driven by an insatiable need to defy the boundaries of human capability. He had often spoken of feeling at home in the mountains, yet that day, the familiar caress of altitude might have masked the peril that lurked with each step. As Steck ascended, a sense of foreboding settled over the camp below. His absence stretched longer than expected, and communication a lifeline in these remote reaches was sporadic at best. By the time climbers at Camp 2 noticed something amiss, the mountain had already claimed its price. Speculation around Steck's final hours is rife with contradictions. Some suggest he was disoriented, possibly a victim of altitude-induced confusion. Others believe a simple misstep led to his fall, a tragic consequence of the relentless pursuit of perfection. It's plausible that the very drive that had fueled his legendary climbs also clouded his judgment in those critical moments. The emotional dynamics surrounding his disappearance were intense. Friends and fellow climbers oscillated between hope and despair, their hearts heavy with uncertainty. Steck's wife, Nicole, later recounted the gut-wrenching wait for news, a silence more deafening than the fiercest storm. In the aftermath, the climbing community grappled with the loss of the giant. Debate raged over the risks inherent in high-altitude pursuits, an argument as old as mountaineering itself. Yet, Steck's legacy was one of inspiration, a reminder of the human spirit's capacity to dream and dare. What truly happened on Nuptse remains a mystery shrouded in the mist of altitude and ambition. Was Steck's drive to conquer the impossible his undoing, or was it just a cruel twist of fate? As we peel back the layers of this enigmatic tragedy, we invite you to share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Your insights could shed light on the puzzle that is Ueli Steck's final ascent. Subscribe to follow the unfolding journey and join us as we continue to explore the peaks and perils of human endeavor in the face of nature's grandeur. The morning sun had barely begun its ascent, casting long shadows over the foreboding face of Nuptse. It was April 30, 2017, when Ueli Steck embarked on what would be his final climb. This was no ordinary training run. It was part of an ambitious plan to traverse both Everest and Lhotse in a single expedition. But first, he needed to hone his skills on Nuptse's challenging slopes. Steck, known as the Swiss machine, was a mountaineer of legendary prowess, renowned for his speed and precision. His lightweight approach meant he often tackled peaks with minimal gear, relying instead on his remarkable endurance and skill. On this day, he set out with little more than an ice axe, crampons, and the steely resolve that had driven him to the pinnacle of his sport. As he ascended the snow-laden ridges of Nuptse, the air thin and biting, Steck was alone. Some argue that this solitude was both his greatest strength and his most significant vulnerability. It allowed him to push beyond the limits of the possible, yet it also meant there was no one to witness what transpired next. The exact sequence of events remained shrouded in mystery. At some point during his climb, Steck fell from a height estimated at over 1,000 meters. Whether it was a misstep or a miscalculation, the mountain gave no hints. The terrain where he fell was notoriously treacherous, with loose snow giving way to sheer drops and jagged rocks below. In the climbing community, Steck's untimely death sent shockwaves. Many speculated whether he might have succumbed to summit fever or relentless drive to reach the top that can cloud judgment. Others pointed to the psychological pressure of his high-profile endeavors. It may indicate that even the best are not immune to the allure of the summit, a siren call that has claimed many lives. Yet, Steck was not known for reckless abandon. His climbs were methodical, driven by careful calculation. This contradiction fueled further debate and introspection among climbers worldwide. Was there a moment of hesitation, a fleeting lapse in focus, or perhaps the mountain itself, indifferent and unforgiving, simply chose its moment? In the days following his fall, the mountaineering community united in mourning. Tributes poured in from around the globe, each recounting tales of Steck's humility and his unwavering passion for the mountains. His absence was palpable, a void left on the slopes he loved so dearly. The decision to leave Ueli Steck on Nuptse was not made lightly. In keeping with his wishes and the ethos of mountaineering, his body was allowed to rest on the mountain, a testament to his dedication and the risks inherent in his pursuit. Some say this was his final act of union with the peaks he revered, a poignant reminder of the fine line between man and nature. As we delve deeper into this enigma, the questions linger. What drives someone like Steck to push boundaries so far beyond the ordinary, and what lessons can be drawn from his tragic end? Join the discussion below and share your thoughts on Ueli Steck's legacy and the enduring allure of the mountains. Subscribe to stay updated as we continue to unravel the story behind his final climb. The crunch of boots against snow, the whisper of wind weaving through the Himalayan peaks, the sight of Nuptse's formidable silhouette standing vigil over Everest. These are the echoes of the opening moments of our journey, and they linger even as we close. The mountain's quiet presence reminds us of the delicate balance between man's ambition and nature's immutable power. Ueli Steck's tragic fall on Nuptse's icy slopes leaves us grappling with questions that may never find answers. What drove him to push boundaries so relentlessly? Was it the thrill of the climb, the quest for mastery, or deeper, unquenchable thirst for the unknown? While we have pieced together fragments of his last days through accounts and evidence, the full tapestry of his thoughts remains elusive. Yet, through this exploration, we've also unearthed truths about Steck's spirit. His determination and skill were undeniable, his respect for the mountains profound. We have seen how his life was a testament to the awe-inspiring, albeit perilous, dance between human courage and the unforgiving elements of nature. These insights illuminate not just the story of Steck, but the broader narrative of every climber who risks everything for a glimpse from the summit. Emotionally, we are left with a tapestry woven with threads of admiration, sorrow, and contemplation. Philosophically, Steck's story challenges us to ponder our own limits, the nature of risk, and the allure of the seemingly impossible. As we reflect, we are reminded of the thin line between triumph and tragedy, a line that, on the mountain, can shift as unpredictably as the weather. There is no neat bow to tie on this tale. Ueli Steck remains on Nuptse, a part of the very landscape he cherished. His life and death prompt us to embrace uncertainty responsibly, acknowledging that some mysteries are as vast as the mountains themselves. As we close, we invite you to share your thoughts and reflections below. How do you interpret Steck's legacy? What draws you to the mountains, or to any pursuit that tests the edges of possibility? If this journey through the peaks and valleys of Ueli Steck's life resonated with you, we welcome you to subscribe and continue exploring these profound stories with us. The mountains, after all, always have more to teach.